Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Cain. As a mother and a social work student, the topic of online child and youth safety hits incredibly close to home. I have an 8-year-old daughter who, like most kids her age, has grown up surrounded by technology, phones, tablets, TV, and YouTube videos. For a long time, I saw her use of technology as harmless entertainment, a way to keep her busy or even help her learn. But one day I discovered something that really opened my eyes. I walked into the living room and caught her chatting with an AI online, a virtual chatbot that she had discovered all on her own. She was typing questions and getting answers back like it was a friend. My heart dropped. I remember feeling like a horrible mom, guilty, shocked, and scared because I realized that I hadn't been supervising her enough. It wasn't that I didn't care, I just didn't fully understand how quickly kids can wander into these risky digital spaces. That moment changed everything for me. I chose this topic because I wanted to understand not only how to protect my own child, but also how we as social workers can help other families navigate the same fears. Online safety isn't just about avoiding strangers, it's about teaching children to protect their own personal information, recognize manipulation, and balance their mental health in a hyper-connected world. According to SafeWise, about 70% of children report being exposed to cyberbullying before they even turn 18. And 43% of parents admit they don't use any parental controls or monitoring tools. This gap between awareness and action is where social work can make an impact. We are uniquely positioned to educate families, advocate for safer platforms, and help children develop resilience and self awareness in the digital age. When we talk about online safety, we're really talking about child welfare, mental health, and social justice. Technology affects every level of a young person's life, from their relationships and identity to their self esteem and safety. Social workers must understand this evolving landscape and step in as protectors, educators, and advocates. The internet has become an essential part of how children learn, socialize, and play, but it also is a space filled with serious risks. For many families, these risks can feel invisible until something goes wrong. Some of the most common dangers that children face online include cyberbullying, online grooming, exposure to inappropriate content, and invasion of privacy. These experiences can leave lasting emotional and psychological scars. The Cyberbullying Research Center reports that nearly 59% of teens have experienced cyberbullying, and 27% admit that they have cyberbullied others. That means that over half of the youth are directly affected, either as a victim or a participant. Even more concerning, the data show that LGBTQ youth are targeted at significantly higher rates, and that boys are increasingly becoming victims, contradicting older patterns that focus primarily on girls. These findings remind us that online harm is not evenly distributed. Certain populations face deeper vulnerabilities. Children in foster care, for example, may not always have consistent parental supervision or access to healthy online role models. LGBTQ youth may seek support or community online only to become targets for harassment. Youth with disabilities might struggle with communication barriers that it may make it difficult to recognize manipulation or report abuse. For my family, this research hits home. When I thought about my own daughter using technology without realizing who she might be interacting with or what information she might be giving away, I realized that even children in stable homes are at risk. The online world doesn't discriminate, but it does amplify inequality. For a social work perspective, online child safety is a common issue. It requires schools, parents, service organizations, and digital platforms to work together to prevent harm and empower children. As social workers, we can advocate for trauma informed online education, encourage family digital literacy programs, and collaborate with local agencies that specialize in child protection. The takeaway is that online safety isn't just about banning technology. It's about building digital resilience. Kids with continue Kids will continue to grow up in these spaces, and it's our job to make those spaces safe, inclusive, and empowering as we possibly can. To fully understand the online safety issue, I turned to two key theoretical perspectives: ecological systems theory and empowerment theory. Ecological systems theory, developed by Uri Bronfenbrenner, views child development as being shaped by several interconnected systems: families, peers, schools, communities, and broader society. In today's world, the internet has become a major part of the ecosystem, influencing children even when parents or teachers are not aware of it. For example, algorithms determine what children see on social media, shaping their self image, social norms, and mental health. When I think about my daughter, I see how her behavior, emotions, and confidence are influenced by what she encounters online, from YouTube creators to classmates' group chats. Using this theory helps us as social workers understand that online safety isn't just a family problem. It's a multi level issue involving policies, education, and cultural attitudes about technology. Empowerment theory complements this by focusing on agency, helping individuals gain control over their lives and environment. In the context of online safety, that means teaching kids to recognize risks, use privacy settings, and report inappropriate behavior. Empowerment doesn't mean isolating children from technology. It means giving them the skills and confidence to navigate it safely. In practice, a social worker might lead workshops in schools about online consent, help parents develop monitoring strategies that build trust rather than fear, or partner with tech companies to advocate for better child safety tools. When we combine these theories, we see that protecting children online requires both systemic awareness and personal empowerment. We must strengthen the environment and the individual at the same time. When we evaluate these two theories, ecological systems and empowerment, side by side, we can see how they complement and challenge each other, especially in addressing online child safety. Ecological systems theory helps us understand the bigger picture. It reminds us that a child's experiences are never isolated. Their online behavior is shaped by families' digital habits, the school's technology policies, the community's access to Wi Fi, and national laws around data privacy and child protection. This perspective is extremely valuable for social workers because it allows us to identify where interventions are needed, whether supporting parents, working with schools, or advocating for systemic change. However, a limitation of this theory is that sometimes it stops at description. It tells us what influences exist, but not always how to shift them. It doesn't always center power, privilege, or inequality, and in the digital world, those inequalities are clear. Many low income families lack access to reliable internet or secure devices, leaving children behind in both safety and opportunity. Empowerment theory fills that gap by focusing on action. It calls us to give children and families the skills, voice, and confidence it takes um, to take charge of their digital safety. This means that teaching children how to protect their privacy, recognize manipulation, and report harmful behavior. It also means helping parents feel capable of guiding their children instead of being overwhelmed by technology. In my own family, I've learned that empowerment doesn't just come from blocking apps, it comes from conversations. When I sat with my 8-year-old to talk about what she was doing online, I realized how much she understood and how much she still needed to learn. We talked about what AI is, why it's not safe to share information, and how she could ask me questions when she's curious. That dialogue itself was empowering for both of us. From a social work practice perspective, these theories inform our real world actions. For instance, in schools, we can lead workshops on safe online communication. In communities, we can collaborate with police cyber safety units to reach at-risk youth. At a policy level, we can advocate for laws that protect children's digital privacy and ensure equitable technology access. And at the foundation of all of this social work ethics, dignity and work of the person, human relationships, competence, and integrity. Our role is not to control children, but to empower them, not to shame families, but to support them, and not just to respond to harm, but to prevent it by creating safer systems and stronger relationships. Ultimately, both theories, when used together, create a powerful framework for promoting social and economic justice and protecting human rights in digital spaces. Children deserve not just access to the internet, but safe, inclusive, and empowering access. As I bring this presentation to a close, I want to return where it began, with that personal moment of realizing how much of my daughter's world exists online. That realization filled me with guilt at first, but through learning and research, it's turned into empowerment. And that's what this work is truly about, helping families, including my own, move from fear to confidence in the digital age. Online safety is no longer just a tech issue, it's a human rights and a social justice issue. Access to safe digital spaces, protection from exploitation, and the right to privacy are all part of ensuring that children can develop with dignity. When those rights are violated through cyberbullying, manipulation, or digital inequity, the consequences extend far beyond the screen. They impact mental health, self esteem, education, and relationships. Social workers are in a unique position to make change on multiple levels. Individually, by educating parents and children on online safety behavior, organizationally, by developing school or agency policies around technology and supervision, systemically, by advocating for fair digital access and stronger child protection laws. Locally, we can connect families to resources like school based internet safety task forces, child advocacy centers, or local police cyber safety units. Nationally, organizations like NetSmart's StopBullying.org and the Cyber Tip Line provide education, prevention, and reporting tools. But beyond the resources, this issue calls us to live our values as social workers. Service, by helping families understand and navigate digital spaces. Social justice, by challenging systems that leave some children unprotected. Dignity and worth of the person, by treating children not as passive victims, but as capable digital citizens. Integrity and competence, by standing informed about new technologies and ethical challenges. Every time I see my daughter reach for a device now, I see both the risks and the possibilities. I see an opportunity to teach her, to guide her, and to model what responsible technology use looks like. That is the message I want to leave with you. Online child safety isn't about fear, it's about connection, empowerment, and advocacy. When families, schools, and social workers work together, we can transform technology from a threat into a tool for growth and equity. So let's continue to protect, educate, and empower, one child, one family, and one community at a time. For your time and for joining me in helping keep children safe, informed, and empowered in the digital world.